The Kong is overdue for another game, and this may sound sacrilegious, but I think it's high time the monkey gives the third dimension another go, and I also think that this hypothetical 3D adventure should be an in-house project as well. It's been 25 years since DK64, and Nintendo has certainly cooked with their other franchises in that time frame, so why not give it another go with the Kongs? And if nothing else, they have plenty of their own homework to fall back on for guidance.
And look at Randy Orton slithering. Watch out, watch out, watch out!
Greetings, wayward souls, it's a Gamepeg Preacher, and what a time to be alive. It took 11 long years, but we finally got a new Donkey Kong game, a 3D one at that, and we haven't had one of those in over 20 years. Bananza was the entire reason I even wanted to Switch to since they announced it, and even leading up to the game, reviews were very positive, and now that it's been gracing the public's hands for a few weeks now, what do I have to say about it? Well, I mean, you saw the title of the video, right? At least I'm assuming you did, but in case you didn't, this funny monkey game is my game of the year. It's been consuming my thoughts ever since I bought the thing. Hell, I'm probably still thinking about it as I'm talking to you right now. We've had a lot of amazing games come out this year, and we'll most likely have some more come out before the year is done, but Bananza has my vote. No contest. I mean, we expected DK to be good, but I don't think anyone expected it to be this good. I'd go as far to say it's a system seller, and today I'm gonna go over why. We will be avoiding spoilers, because I highly, and I have to stress highly, recommend you play this for yourself. This game means something to me, man, and I hope by the end of this I can get it to mean something to you too. So let's get to the bottom of why Donkey Kong Bananza is my game of the year. So, honestly, while I'm here thinking about it, I don't really know how I want to structure this. I guess this will kind of qualify as a review, because I do want to discuss multiple aspects of the game, so I guess we're going to break it down from there. With this being the case, I guess we can get the aspects that I have the least to talk about out of the way first, starting with the plot. So here we have Ingot Isle. There's bananas here, so naturally that means Donkey Kong is here too, but things take a twist when the island ends up sinking underground. Tanking this seismic event like the force of nature he is, DK survives and ends up finding a rock, and a rather odd looking rock at that. But the rock ends up being a girl, Pauline, and from there, it's a journey to the center of the earth to get the kid back to the surface and the Kong to get, well...
Oh, banana.
And that's really the gist of it. I mean, the plot is fine. It does its job, but I mean, realistically speaking, you aren't really playing platformers for the compelling narrative anyway. It flows and it makes sense, and that's good enough for me. Plus, to the game's credit, it actually does take some pretty meaningful twists towards the end of it. Almost like you should play it for yourself to find out or something. Who knows? But yeah, plot good. Something else that also good? The music. It's a nice OST with some bangers here and there. It's got a good dose of original stuff and remixes of classic DK tracks as well. It's very ambiance heavy, which does work for this game, but I don't know, still feels like something's missing. The fanboy in me does yearn for that classic Y/Kirkhope touch, but I mean, what can you do? I mean, aside from give credit for your creation. But I digress. Small issues aside, I do think that the music is good, but I think that's enough of sweating the small stuff, isn't it? It's time to get into the real nitty-gritty of this masterpiece, so let's get into the deeper dive of Bananza. There are two main aspects of Bananza I feel sell the entire experience. The first one being the world, the second one being the gameplay. That second one seems kinda obvious, but we'll get into it later. We're sticking with the first part for now, but what exactly do I mean when I say the world of Bananza? Well, it's a twofold topic to tackle, because I mean you have the underground world itself and all of its different sublayers. As far as the actual levels go, I think the team nailed it with Bananza. For one, I think the levels feel distinctively Donkey Kong enough, if you catch my drift. And if you don't catch my drift, well, I guess it would help to put this title side by side with what it's most likely getting compared to, Mario Odyssey. Considering that the Odyssey team was also behind Bananza, there was always this worry that DK's big return would just kind of be in the shadow of the plumber, as is typically the case with the Primate. But that's thankfully not the case this time around. The worlds are big and vibrant, and although I don't think they're as grandiose as the ones you'd see in Odyssey, I do think they feel more lived in than the ones in Odyssey. And that feeling of life is mainly attributed to the colorful characters you'll be encountering along your journey. For what is a world without its denizens? Or one could say, a country without its people. And I mean, honestly, I think the characters are probably the biggest highlight for me with this game. Of course, you have the Prime Primate and the Star Singer with DK and Pauline, and I freaking love their dynamic, man. They really do just feel like some siblings having a grand old time, and contrary to normal Nintendo companions, I never once found Pauline annoying. If anything, I just got more endeared by her as the game went on. Props for that. What deserves even bigger props are all the whimsical side characters you'll meet. I really don't know where else to say this, so I'm just gonna put it here. This game is so rareware coded that it's painful, but it's the best kind of pain to be feeling, because it had me grinning from ear to ear every second that I played. And that feeling could not be embodied more than with these silly little rock creatures right here. See these guys? These are the Fractones, and you'll be seeing them for the duration of your playthrough. And I mean, naturally a race of sentient rocks with googly eyes can, and should, remind you of a certain other platforming franchise. Which they do, but it's so much more than just the designs. Like, the designs are a big part of it, don't get me wrong. They come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, which they can change on a whim, but it's also their demeanors, the overall vibe they give off, the fact that they speak in rhymes half the time. You can just punch or tear entire chunks off these guys and it doesn't even faze them. Some of them actually welcome it, and it's just, man, I love these frickin' Scrimblows so much. But even outside of the rock people, the other denizens of the lairs you'll dive through are all cool in their own way, some of them quite literally. You got entire societies of animals, you have a giant eel creature with a stoplight as its angler, and even more wackier beings. Even the bad guys ended up being more endearing than I thought they would. I was honestly shocked at how much I love the Voidco crew. I think I speak for a lot of people when I say we all wanted a certain king to take the center stage again, but Voidco actually ended up being the second best villains we've had in the franchise. I mean, I know the bar for that isn't exactly high, but I was so infatuated with these misfits even before the game dropped that I actually didn't mind the absence of K-Rool. And considering my love of all things golden and glittering, that says a hell of a lot. But there is one aspect of this game that shines brighter than all the gold in the underground, because no platformer would be worth its salt without some stellar gameplay. So how is that gameplay? Well...
the game is fun.
And honestly, just saying that feels like a tremendous understatement. I can't speak for everyone, but in my personal case, every moment of playing through this game was a delight and giving me a heavy supply of the good brain chemicals. DK simultaneously feels like an agile acrobat and a destructive freight train all at the same time. The former mainly being from his Odyssey-like movement, and the latter being from how you are basically a force of nature. The Kong's movement in this game is cracked. More cracked than the Plumber's, I'd say. You can jump, climb, roll around, surf on terrain, and so much more. All these maneuvers can, of course, be mixed, matched, and chained together for some absolutely insane maneuverability. All of these done without so much as a stamina bar in sight. Something you will be seeing a lot of in this game, however, are the Bananza forms, which are also amazing. To put a long story short, the Bananza forms are busted, in every sense of the word, but at the same time, that feels like the whole point of them anyway. You can absolutely trivialize your tasks by utilizing the Bananza forms, but who the hell doesn't enjoy a power trip? I enjoy them very much, and the accompanying themes with each form just add on to that feeling. But even with all of this in mind, your main source of joy with this game will come from just bashing and crashing your way through everything in your sight. You see an enemy in your way? Punch it. There's a banana buried underground? Punch your way to it. Need to make a pathways for some Scrimblows? Did you try punching a path? The world is your canvas and you are free to sculpt it as you see fit. I'd honestly say a good 80% of your problems can be solved with this mentality. Like, I really cannot emphasize the allure of just smashing your way through levels like some kind of hairy bulldozer. People have literally dedicated hours, even entire videos, to just smashing out rooms or even entire levels without even a care for collecting or even advancing through the game. That is some powerful stuff. How funny that a game where you play as a giant ape really just scratches those primal urges like nothing else. It's because those urges are being satisfied that you as the player are compelled to keep going. You want to see more, smash more, do more, play more. And that loop just keeps you trapped and enthralled, all the while with a big old smile on your face. It is truly something magical, and very few games can replicate or even elicit those feelings. It is a game that truly, truly keeps on giving. I really could go on and on about how much I love Bananza, but I mean nothing is perfect, so let's rap about that for a bit. There have been some criticisms of the game, most of which I feel are valid, so it only feels fair to go over how I feel about them. I did, however, say that it was most criticism, so with that being the case, I can just say that I don't view the bosses as being an issue. Are they easy as hell? Yes, but I mean, realistically speaking, what platforming game has bosses that are hard? And if you're pointing to the older country games right now, you're only 1/3 correct on that front. It's a nice break from all the platforming, and sometimes it's nice to have an actual target for all your unbridled fury. At least to me. And as far as performance issues, come on now. Does the game take some performance dips here and there? Yes. Is it impactful to the majority of the experience? God no. If anything, I'm shocked the Switch 2 can run the game as smoothly as it does for basically being a handheld, and for the absolute insanity that ends up on your screen in some moments. The fact that this game was originally planned for the first console blows my mind, and it might have actually blown the console up sky high. But on to some actual criticisms, one of those being the collectibles. Some people feel like Bananza suffers from the too many moons problem that Odyssey suffers from, that the game can't go 5 seconds without putting a banana in your face, which I sort of get. There are a lot of bananas, more so than there are moons in Odyssey. But I think the main difference where it's not really a problem in DK is that bananas aren't really necessary. Collecting bananas does get you skill points to make your job easier and grant new skills, but there's never a point in the game where they are necessary for progression. You have to get moons to progress in Odyssey. Getting bananas in DK is totally up to the player, but as mentioned before, this game is all about scratching your primal urges, and one of those primal urges is see shiny thing, get shiny thing. That's the whole draw of collectathons in general, at least in my opinion. This even extends to the challenge rooms as well, which I think Bananza does way better than Odyssey, to be honest. And if anything, it's because the bananas are optional that I don't even consider Bananza a collectathon in general. So on that front, I don't really see the collectibles as a problem. The same way I don't really see the levels are an issue either, because another issue people have had is that although the levels are pretty, they are kind of lacking in that wow factor, which is fair. You don't really have any worlds in Bananza that give you that wow factor. And when I say wow factor, well, we kind of have to take a look back at Odyssey. Just imagine or go back to the first time you saw the T-Rex in the Cascade Kingdom, or when you saw New Donk City light up for the first time. Real jaw-dropping stuff. Out of the levels in Bananza, I feel like you don't really get that until the very end. So I can see where people do see it as an issue. But when you think about it, would the Cascade Kingdom or New Donk have the same appeal if 60% of those levels were hollowed out? Probably not, although it would be funny. So I mean, the levels in Bananza are very pretty visually, but also nondescript enough to where you don't feel bad about turning them into parking lots. Because I don't. And I'll do it again. When it's all said and done, calling Donkey Kong Bananza a game at the end of it all feels disingenuous. If I had to pick one word to describe this phenomenon, I would call it a gift. Bananza is a gift to both casual gamers and hardcore fans. If this is your first time playing a Donkey Kong game, you really can't get much better than this. And if you are a hardcore fan like me, this entire experience is a love letter to DK's legacy. From its arcade debut to the golden age with Rare to its retro reimagining, the Odyssey team are either just as big of fans as us, or they did some heavy homework for this assignment. Is it perfect? No. Could some of the ideas have been utilized more or expanded upon? Yeah. Does it feel more Odyssey than Monkey in some places? Sure. But the joy I was experiencing with my time was just pushing any criticisms I could have to the wayside. Some people say that this is the game that should have launched with the console instead of Mario Kart, and honestly, I disagree. We all know which of the two games will sell more at the end of it all, but even then, I feel about Mario Kart the same way I feel about an appetizer, something to whet the palate before the real main course. And considering we had to wait over 2 decades for this dish, it had better be something that people are talking about and wanting more of, and Bananza accomplishes that and then some. So, what'd you think of the game overall? Have you not been listening to me this entire video? Did you not see the title? I consider it a miracle I didn't just glaze the game the entire time. Donkey Kong Bananza is a system seller. Full stop. If you have a Switch 2, buy this game. If you don't have a Switch 2, go get one. I don't care how you do it, and then go buy this game. The King of Swing is back, baby. May his reign be long and prosperous, and hopefully you don't have to wait another decade for a new game this time. And that ought to do it, honestly. Again, sorry for the whole lack of content thing. It's been rough out here, y'all, but Bananza sparked something in me. And get ready for me to talk about it more, because it's gonna basically consume my thoughts for the foreseeable future. Anyway, thank y'all for watching. More is always to come, and I'll see you on the flip.